I call the Township of Aleppo Commissioners meeting of April 17th, 2023 to order at 7 o'clock. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
President Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Darrow.
Present.
Commissioner Richard.
Present.
Solicitor Stone.
Present.
Manager Patterson here.
This meeting, as all others, will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Do I hear a motion to approve the April 10th, 2023 workshop meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Police report, please.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of March, we had a total of 69 calls, a few alarms. We had 2 DUI arrests, one at the bottom of the Glenfield ramp exit off of 79 South, and one was on Redgate Road, which was one vehicle accident, nobody injured or anything like that. The driver was intoxicated and arrested under suspicion of DUI. Dog loose over on Rockledge, I think a warning was issued with that, and a mailbox on Redgate that was hit. I do believe that was addressed also. Other than that, the typical alarm calls, medical calls that we always respond to. Other than that, to my knowledge, nothing else to report. Any questions, concerns, or issues?
And as always, anything we can do for you?
No. Springtime, slow down out there in internet world. Springtime, I don't know why, just the weather has changed, and I'm getting speeding complaints everywhere. So just watch for the children out at the school bus stops, as always, and just drive the speed limit, please. Other than that, everything is good.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Emergency management,
No report.
Public Works. Good evening, everybody.
Evening, Tim.
A lot of the same stuff. We lucked out when the storms went through. We had very minor damage, limbs here, 1 tree, 2 trees. As you all saw in the report, we went over and helped Swickley Heights for like a day and a half or 2 days. They got hammered, and we went over and helped them haul away a lot of trees. We had to do some maintenance on our chainsaws, some work on a couple of the roads, blowing off the roads. I know it's on your agenda or your report that I got a price on a thumb attachment for the backhoe. Swickley Heights has one, and when we were doing the cleanup with them, we were using it a lot, and what a difference it makes. You don't have to cut tiny little pieces. You can cut big pieces, pick them up, put them in the dump truck, haul them away, get the roads cleared. That was one of the reasons I brought that up to Gwen, and I believe she talked to you, George, about it. Other than that, any questions for me?
No, Gwen presented that and explained to us what a thumb attachment was. And then it can be used for more than trees.
Oh yeah, you can use it for anything. You can pick up anything. The big rocks that I put along Swickley Heights Drive would have been nice to have it for that. You just pick them up, set them in the truck instead of having to drop stuff. You can actually set them down.
And somewhat obviously it has a long life,
Oh yeah, it'll outlive the backhoe probably.
and it saves you hours, man hours.
Oh, without a doubt.
So it should pay for itself over time.
I would think so. Yes.
And do we have a firm quote yet?
I have a copy in the garage, and I gave Gwen a copy of it. Do you have that with you, Gwen?
Is that bid required, Mr. Solicitor?
No.
Well, no, because we go through stars, right?
Co-stars.
Yeah.
Co-stars, yeah.
So that is the bid.
This is not on our agenda though, and we just had
Right.
that presentation about amending your agenda and all that stuff, so, yeah. But we have it, so if you would like it on a future agenda, just let me know.
Well, is there anything else we should know?
Not that I can think of, no, not offhand. I just think it'd be a wonderful tool to have for us. like I said, with trees down, large rocks when they fall down on the Glen Mitchell Road, which happens quite often. It'll,
Pipe segments, I think you told me, like,
Pardon?
even the pipe segments,
you
like.
can pick up
pick
pipe,
pipe.
yeah, when we tore out the pipe down below, we had to try to kind of smash it all together and pick it up with the backhoe, where this, you just reach out, grab it, set it in the truck.
How is the storm drain doing on Deer Run?
They're getting worse. And I'm waiting for our next heavy rain. I kind of marked them visually myself, and I'm waiting for the next heavy rain to see how much more they open up. We've got two that opened, I didn't expect to see, but they're there now. The one up above the lift station has gotten very large. There's a trough above that. If you drive up the road along above the lift station, there's 3 spots there that just all of a sudden got longer and wider. So they are definitely getting worse.
Are we making any progress with PennDOT?
I will be working with Bob at HRG to set up some kind of meeting with PennDOT to see who he can get us in front of.
Good. I mean, Tim, if there's an emergency that you see, please let us know. But I think our hesitation is, until ownership is fully established, it's kind of inappropriate to spend our money.
Oh, I agree. It's just that eventually, the big hole I was talking about right above the lift station, it's getting closer and closer to Deer Run Road. So, that's,
Okey-doke. Any questions for communications?
I received one email this afternoon, and Tim, maybe you could talk to somebody tomorrow about the dirt and debris on Glen Mitchell again. They said that it was a later in the day one today, that it was bad again today.
I just came up the hill and.
It's still bad?
Must have been a few cars, they're parking in the dirt, because they're not allowed to pull onto the driveways yet. So they're parking in the dirt, and yes, there's mud on them.
Okay, so if you could like check with Mike in the morning.
I'll stop and see him.
Yeah.
Planning and zoning?
Just that we're in the process of our subdivision and land development ordinance rewrite, and our second or third meeting is next week. So our committee is continuing to review that, and then once we have a draft, we will be taking it to the planning commission and then to the commissioners just to review.
Tax collector treasurer. I told Gwen it was very good to have the financials before the meeting. And if we can continue to do that, that would
It's
be
in your
great.
packet, every month I just forgot, it didn't get it in time because
Okay.
I left town.
I
So
think
yeah, every
it's-
month it's in your packet.
Well, no, if you can send it,
You want it separately from your packet?
send it as an email whenever you can.
Okay.
So we'll just assume that.
Oh, yeah, I can go over it. I mean, you have it, do you want the totals, or you want, you can look at this, I can say, the one thing I can say is the property taxes have started to come in. So, in the last month, we had our first big chunk of property taxes, we will get another chunk in April, and usually by May, the bulk of that is received, and then we live off of that for a year. So some of that, when it comes in, some of that will get allocated to other budgeted items, and then some of that will get taken out of the general fund and dropped into some of our savings accounts for investments.
I think there's a positive differential between the property tax collected this year in March as opposed to last year in March. Did we get an early check, or?
It could be, most of it is, most people have mortgages, and so that just comes in from their
Good.
mortgage. The tax collector will be here in the building for his, morning session, I think that's April 26th. April 26th, I think he'll be here in the
Yes.
morning to
Good.
do collections.
Any questions regarding the finances? Then do I hear a motion as written to approve the March bill list as separate?
Motion to approve the March bill list in the amount of $40,511.04, to ratify March prepaid bills in the amount of $15,920.35, and to ratify March payroll transfers in the amount of $16,736.04.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Aleppo Township Authority,
No report.
Quaker Valley Ambulance Authority,
No report.
Quaker Valley COG,
No report.
Mr. Solicitor,
Yeah, I just want to let the board know that I think I might have mentioned this, but I did the research regarding sharing Judy's role as Emergency Management Coordinator with another municipality. And my research indicated that it is definitely possible. The state enabling legislation contemplates those kinds of arrangements. And I'm working on a draft of something, just so we have it, assuming that Judy decides to go forward and you decide that's what you want to do. It makes sense. More and more, we're seeing more sharing between municipalities of particular services, and it's encouraged. So something like that is more or less a no-brainer. But there are other areas where shared services is definitely, a wave of the future.
thank you. Any questions for our solicitor? Unfinished business. Gwen, you want to update Earth Day?
I just want to say it one more time. This Saturday is Earth Day. Tim and I talked about the weather this morning. If, we don't know yet what the weather's going to be. If it's going to be torrential rains, we are gonna look into postponing. I'll be talking to Eric Schmidt, the resident coordinator of our event. But if it's torrential,
60% chance.
yeah, if it's light misting, we'll just put on jackets and carry on, but we'll just have to keep you posted later in the week.
And if postponed, how will we advertise that?
We will redo the signs that are outside, we'll send out an email, and we will put it on the website.
So you're anticipating a decision on Friday?
Hopefully sooner than that,
I would say Friday morning at the latest.
yes.
Okay.
But for now, let's just plan to be here.
New business, I don't want to go to the governor's award first because we may have a guest. So Gwen and I attended, and Harlan attended the spring ALOM conference, and just a few highlights. There was a session updating the sunshine laws, again, kind of reiterating what you can do by email, text, warnings about what you do by email and text, etc. But it was informative, and I think noted how difficult it is for municipal governments to keep up with technology and the mistakes that are inherent in not being able to do that. And perfect timing. We were just starting to talk about the spring conference, and I said we were waiting for our representatives, so please.
Oh, okay, right away. Well, first of all, thank you for every single, I'm sorry.
Because we're videoed everywhere, would you introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. I'm State Representative Valerie Gatos. I represent the 44th Legislative District, which includes Aleppo, all of Quaker Valley, Moon, and Findlay and North Fayette.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So thanks for reminding me. Congratulations on being named a banner community, Aleppo, for all the work that you've done, and specifically for the recording, what we're being recorded now. And I understand that it's specifically because of how you segment it, so that somebody can go and not have to listen to the whole entire session, but listen to the segments of interest. And I think you got probably a lot of more viewers as a result. So here to present the citation.
Wonderful.
And I won't take the time to read the whole thing, but I'll take a quick summary here that as the House of Representatives, always pleased to recognize our communities. So Aleppo Township is being honored by the Governor's Center for Local Government Services in the Department of Community Economic Development with the 2023 Governor's Award for Local Government Excellence. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, and Former Commissioner Dobler, if you're listening, congratulations.
Thank you, Matt.
And thank you. And I think we should applaud Dave also, who has allowed this program to continue with an inept technical president.
Thank you, Dave.
And I would like to thank Patty, who helps break out the video segments of the digest, and then she goes and hashtags everything so that all the different conversations are grouped together in a way so that if you wanted to look up roads, you can just look that up and you can find all the video clips. And she
And
does a lot of that work.
And I do think the digesting is the key. Anybody can video, but when you digest it so that if I want to look at it, I can go to the police report, I can go to the tax report, anywhere I want to go without sitting through the whole meeting. That's very good.
And it was unique when that was done. It was amazing to really look around and see that very few communities had that. And certainly to know now that you've got this award and people are following it, you're gonna see probably a lot more of that, and it'll be more searchable and keyword searchable and stuff like that, so that's great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you.
All right, so we did get an update on sunshine
We want
laws.
to grab a photo at some
I think
point.
that would
Oh,
be really
yes.
nice, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would like that.
Dave, can you do it?
What's that?
Can you photo?
Tim can do it too, so, yeah.
If not, we'll just take it with our cell.
Yeah.
Just, take it with yourself.
Yeah, I just do this, so.
Yeah, you wanna
For
come around to
commissioners?
that?
Yeah,
You wanna come around
absolutely.
to that would be great. And then you guys, commissioners, can kinda, you know.
Because I'm proud of you guys just as well, so I want to brag about what you
Right by
do.
the flag.
Okay.
Again.
And we have enough, you know, little awards here that everybody gets to hold
Hold
something, so.
This is
Thrilling.
thrilling.
All right, you too, Dan, nice try.
And we were not in Harrisburg when we weren't in session, so I was actually here out in the district because we weren't in
No,
session.
we're very happy you
Yeah,
came.
yeah.
Or Gwen, you and Valerie in particular.
Are you trying to get out of this?
No. All right.
I have a sense that that's what's happening, and
Please.
I'm not gonna let you do it. Sorry.
Nice try.
Tim, can you take it, cause I think I would like Patty to be in a photo or two also.
Everyone's really trying to get out.
This'll show up on my green shirt, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Dan.
That looks good.
Are we pausing
It's all
recording,
guy
or
in
are
the
we
back.
looking?
No, we're all looking, we're all just
Dan's
enjoying
gonna
this, you know,
Back to the class.
back to the class.
That's it.
That's where the
tall enough to
tall
still
ones
be
always
in.
had to go, right? I see.
All right,
Looks good.
everybody say cheese.
Cheese.
Hashtag, say hashtag.
One more time, ready?
Aleppo rocks.
One more just to be safe. It's Patty's fun anyhow.
Excellent.
Right.
Wave at this camera
Thank you.
too.
Oh, wait, did that one?
All right.
There you go.
That's wonderful, thank you very much. All right.
Check and make
And
sure.
you better believe we're gonna tell everybody that every time we're looking to help the community, we're gonna remind them that this, you know, this community has really advanced, so. we're
Thank you
definitely-
very, very much.
It helps me help you.
No, thank you very much.
Thanks.
We're gonna digest that under award.
Yeah.
Yes. It's going at the top of the
Hashtag
digest this
award.
time.
Hashtag award.
Yes, got one.
Thank you.
So aside from the sunshine law updates, we went to a session on animal welfare, which pretty much verified that the trap, neuter, return strategy is the best for feral cats, even though the new name for that is community cats. And they passed out a book by the National Humane Society, and it was very comprehensive. It analyzed the success rates for various strategies and talked about strategies that don't work. So what we're doing over on Nancy Drive is what we should be doing. And we made the comment that this township has also offered up some financial support for the volunteers that are doing it, which they applauded. We talked about sanitary sewer maintenance. Nothing real special there, but in reading the authority's most recent audit, we're still losing about 30% of our water. And that's not as unusual for the industry as one might think. And one of the things the authority is doing is replacing meters, because the older the meters get, the less accurately they measure, and they usually measure less than what's going through. So we are approaching it, but it's a tough problem. We heard several presentations on property, but the potential impact of the current property tax litigation, which the representative can certainly tell more about than I can, but what is it, the common,
The Keystone Community Grants?
No, this has to do with the
common level ratio?
the litigation involving the common level ratio in the Allegheny County court case that Judge Hertzberg has decided.
And it's
which is-
83 and 65%?
Is the
something like that?
difference,
Give me the,
the appeal is, it's currently on appeal in Commonwealth Court. And my hunch is that when it comes back, there's either gonna be a countywide reassessment, the county's either going to agree to do one, or the court could order a countywide reassessment, but nobody's really sure while it's still pending in Commonwealth Court. Did you have something?
yeah, I mean, I think that's generally the case. I mean, the history of it is that, when they did the common level ratio class action suit, if you will, that it ended up in court where it was 82%, I believe. And then the court came back after they looked at all the reassessments, and they said that it should have been around 62.3% for really the past like 3 or 4 years. So they opened up now reassessments. So let's say if you had been assessed at that 80-some%, let's say last year or year before, you could then, I guess, appeal that, and then the school district would have to then look at it and say, well, actually, it should have been 60-something, but it's now in court, back in court again, and at this point, it's like any day now.
Yeah, I'm told that we have lawyers in our firm who are involved with it, so I get some reports. I think it's being fast-tracked to the Supreme Court so that they can figure out what they're gonna do pretty quickly between now and the fall. I think that the impact, so just so you understand the difference between the 66, the common level ratio is essentially a discount on your assessment based on what the county refers to the state as recent sales data. So it's to cover increases or decreases in value in between reassessments. So they take that data, the county supposedly takes the data involving recent sales and conveys that to the state, and the state then creates what they call a common level ratio to offset any increases in property values that take place in between reassessments. And so if it's 80%, your tax assessment, you could appeal your tax assessment, and you would be entitled to a 20% reduction automatically in your assessed value. If it's 66 and whatever percent, you're going to be entitled to a 33 and a third or something like that in terms of reduction in your assessed property value. So that difference, that delta, is considerable, and if it results in refunds, which is always a possibility for past collections, I mean, that could really devastate school districts that have budgeted for those funds. I mean, they'll be losing a lot of money. Certainly going forward, if it turns out to be the case, they'll be losing that difference. Whether they can go back and refund is a different story. I think there's some,
Or credit going forward.
credit going forward, something like that. I was involved in a countywide Allegheny County challenge to the countywide reassessment back when Larry Dunn and who were the commissioners? Larry Dunn and Mike DeWita, and I forget who the third one was. And we challenged, a bunch of Swickley Heights residents challenged the countywide assessment back then, and I represented them. And I remember just how we attempted to argue that we were entitled to refunds, And I think there's some pretty strong case law that says you can't get refunds in these tax cases. Otherwise, I mean, again, you'd end up bankrupting school districts for the most part.
I think I can get two things right. One, if your house has a market value of 100,000, at the 80%, you would be taxed at 80,000. At the 63%, you would be taxed at 63,000.
Correct.
That's a big difference in terms of the tax revenue, not only for the school district, but for the municipality.
Right.
And the other thing was the attorney who presented at the session said, number one, she can't predict where this is gonna go. No, nobody really knows. And number two, because they opened up appeals for 22, 23 prior to the court decision being finalized, and there are many more individual appeals than school district appeals. School district appeals are generally to increase, individual appeals are generally to decrease.
What most people, and it seems to be, it's always like a complicated issue when you're trying to figure out these dollar amounts, but a simple way to look at it is that, and Mr. Stone did articulate this, but people have to think of when they did the reassessment in 2012, as each year goes by, and it's like people pop up by houses, and what the common level ratio is that every year, if it's 20 years, 10 years between reassessment, that you want everybody to be fairly assessed. And so that's really what the goal is as the common level ratio. So as years go by, the ratio should be getting lower and lower and lower, because it's 100% of everybody who was reassessed in 2012, so 2013, so it should be dropping every year, and then it hadn't dropped in the last 5 years. And so that was where the court case was held, where they said, they subpoenaed the records from the county and said, we want actual records, you keep charging people 80-some%, we believe it should be 60-something. Turns out the lawyers were right when they actually looked at the data, and it's pretty factual that it should be somewhere now 60. It's just a matter of determining how, whether they do the credit, whether they, how are school districts going to address that? And I think it's problematic for every school district and municipality, and taxpayers.
Yeah,
I think this solution ultimately is, like I said, I think it's just gonna force a countywide reassessment to get everybody back to square one. And I suspect that that's what the court case is gonna end up doing. It's gonna force a countywide reassessment.
thank you.
Thank you.
We heard one session by the Allegheny Conservation District about landslides, and with all the red mud in Aleppo Township, that's something that's kind of always on our minds. And then the one that I found very interesting was unmanned aircraft and advanced air mobility vehicles. Advanced air mobility vehicles will be able to transport packages and people, eventually unmanned. I believe I'm correct, the UPS just purchased 200 plus of the first advanced air mobility vehicle. And the attorney presenting, no, it was actually the Allegheny County Airport presenting, said municipalities should start thinking about ordinances now. Because if a major warehouse or company decided to buy 200 aircraft tomorrow, and they were buzzing over Aleppo Township, I'm sure we'd hear about it. And the Allegheny County Airport people did say that we could contact them to start an initiative on ordinances. I mean, they obviously are focused on the communities next to the airport, because they said when a bird goes through an engine, the feathers kind of come out. When a drone, as an example, goes through an engine, it's shut down. So all in all, I think when I first became a commissioner, I told Gwen that I would not attend a conference that didn't give me more value than we paid. And I think each of those subjects were more value than we paid. So Gwen was able to talk to other managers, to other politicians, etc. Correct? You want to add anything?
A couple of sessions that I went to that maybe didn't mention, there was one that was I can't remember who presented, but it was by an autism educator, and she was offering services to municipalities on how to train first responders and people who interact with citizens who have autism and other communication barriers, so that they can learn how that certain people don't respond the same way or in the same amount of time, and I thought that that was useful, so I gathered the information from that also. I think our fire company has gone through training on that, and they're very aware, but it was just good to hear that from, it was a parent-educator perspective.
Good. Okay, any questions about the conference?
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. And we just covered the Governor's Award for Local Government Excellence, and again, former Commissioner Dobler, thank you very much. Representative Gatos, thank you very much. Any other new business? Any additional citizen participation? Therefore, we're adjourned.